Today's big question: how was Israel created? Many people around the world have been asking this question a lot recently, so today we're going to answer it. Also, if you like your history with a side of socialism, and that is rare, then check out our podcast, new episodes every Wednesday. The modern state of Israel was established in 1948 after a process that began around the turn of the 20th century, and there were three key players in its creation: Britain, France, and the Ottoman Empire. Okay, for if you count the Zionists. The British and French imperial powers carved up the Middle East after World War I, each taking control of territories that were formerly part of the Ottoman Empire. Britain took control of Palestine in 1920, even though they had no previous territorial or historical claims to the region. This was justified on the basis of their supposed commitment to the Zionist cause, which we will get into shortly. At the same time, France took control of Syria and Lebanon. But why did the victorious Allied powers get to carve up the Middle East in the first place? Well, because of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans had been a regional power for centuries, but by the end of the 19th century, they were looking pretty shaky. European powers began to take an interest in their territories as a result. By the time World War I rolled around, the British and French had secured their respective regions, and when the war was over, they refused to give them back. But what about the people who actually lived there? Well, they didn't really matter. The region's Muslim population was largely seen as a valuable resource that could be exploited for the benefit of the imperial powers. Both France and Britain viewed the Muslim subjects of the Ottoman Empire as so-called backward peoples whose interests were best served under the guidance of a European power. And this was especially true in Palestine. The British viewed the region's Muslims as obstacles to the establishment of a Jewish homeland. As one British official put it in 1917, the Arab does not appeal to us as an object of our special interest or sympathy. We do not desire his friendship or that of his chiefs. And so began the process of ethnic cleansing. The British recruited armed gangs of local Jews to attack Arab villages and force their inhabitants to flee. Entire communities were massacred and their homes were destroyed. And by the time the British left in 1948, they had succeeded in making Palestine almost entirely Jewish, which brings us to the last key player in Israel's creation: France. The French had been involved in the Zionist movement from its very beginning, seeing an opportunity to support the creation of a Jewish state in order to weaken the influence of their rivals. The British, French officials actively encouraged Jewish immigration to Palestine and helped to establish the institutions needed to support a Jewish state. In addition, the French provided military assistance to the Jewish paramilitary organizations responsible for carrying out the ethnic cleansing against the Arabs. In short, without the help of the French, there would have been no modern state of Israel. So now you know how Israel was created. A last-ditch effort by two dying empires to stay relevant in the face of growing anti-colonial struggles, one that came at the expense of the Palestinians. But hey, at least Zionism succeeded, right? Wrong. Today, Israel finds itself in a precarious position in the world. On the one hand, it is a wealthy and technologically advanced country with a strong military. On the other hand, it is widely seen as an illegal occupier of Palestinian territory. The international community overwhelmingly supports a two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and the majority of the world's countries refuse to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, which they occupied in 1967. In addition, Israel has no formal diplomatic relations with any Arab country. While they do have peace agreements with some of them, they are essentially an international pariah state. As you can probably tell, we are quite fond of the people of the Middle East. In all seriousness, though, understanding the history of the region is crucial to understanding the conflicts that continue to rage there today. And that is why we have put together this special series on the modern Middle East. It is a deep dive into the history of the region that will allow you to better understand the conflicts that continue to rage there today. The series will explore the history of the region from the end of World War I to the present day, and it will cover topics such as the Arab-Israeli conflict, the Iranian Revolution, and the rise of ISIS.